Well then, let's move on to some playoff talk. The Phoenix Suns are up 2-0 on the Dallas Mavericks. We just saw the evisceration of their defense in the fourth quarter in that game too. Poor Luka Doncic, who was targeted quite a bit late in that game. Monica, I'll start with you. One, what were your expectations heading into this series, and what has kind of stood out to you so far through 2 games?
Listen, I was feeling Dallas. Like, I was in Dallas for game 1 versus Utah, and there was something different, right? Like, you could just kind of see it in them and in Jason Kidd. And even though they came up short, obviously they ultimately go on to win the series. I actually thought that this series would be a lot more competitive than it's been thus far. And I guess that is a tip of the cap to the Phoenix. Wow, I was about to call them Mercury. WNBA season starts this weekend, y'all. Whoop, whoop. The Phoenix Suns. It's a tip of the cap to them, the way that Chris Paul has been operating with precision down the stretch, the return of Devin Booker. I mean, all of those role pieces stepping up. To me, the Suns have gotten better each series. Some of that forced, the absence of Book forces some of those other guys to step up. But I had them going to the finals from the jump all season long. I do hope that we get a few closer games in the series though. But Luka, you in the playoffs, you got to play some kind of defense. Like, you got to be formidable. Like, you got to keep a team honest, and he's just not done that down the stretch. And so they're kind of like, all right, bet, cool, have 50. You're not gonna stop us.
Mm-hmm. Steve, what have been your initial takeaways through two?
Well, I mean, first off, what they did to Luka just wasn't necessarily cool or right. Like, the way they made him work, like, it really wasn't. Like, we talk about matchup hunting all the time in the playoffs, and they decided, hey, you know what, Luka, we're gonna make you try and do all the things defensively. Hey, guard these pick and rolls, and we're going to make you help off the ball, and then we're going to make you close out, and now Jay Crowder's driving by you, and now everybody's trying to help you. It's a little, oh yeah, now we're sitting pin downs for Devin Booker. It's a little different than just, hey, Chris Paul's trying to ISO you one-on-one, which they also did, and he made shots. Like that, if I'm Dallas, I'm sick. Like, y'all have done all these things, and now we get the switch. We feel good. Hey, I got Chris Paul in front. I'm going to contain it. We're good. Step back. Sweet. So for me, it's just Dallas has to find a way to figure out the blend. And I've had fun watching this series just because of the chess match of Phoenix saying, hey, Luka, go ahead and score. We're going to take away your options, take away your space. Mikal Bridges is going to navigate these screens. Our big is going to stay back. If you get a switch you like, we're showing help no matter what. And now what are you going to do? Because if Luka is just scoring, that's one thing. But if he's scoring, creating, you get the lobs, you get the kicks, now you get Jalen Brunson going, that's a whole different kind of ordeal. And Dallas hasn't been able to get that piece of it going. First half of game 2, you kind of saw it a little bit, but then they were only up by 2. So
it's so crazy because, like, the brilliance of Luka is undeniable. But the way they play with versus without Luka is dramatically different, which a guy of that caliber does demand. But to your point, like, cool, Luka, you're going to average whatever, 40, whatever, cool. But Jalen Brunson is going to be held under 10. Like, what? Huh?
They have not been able to find a way to unlock him. Oh, you go ahead, Steve.
Oh, no, I was going to say, like, find a matchup for Jalen Brunson. Find something for him. Like, if you're going to do the first 6 minutes of just straight Luka, that's fine. But stop trying to put Jalen Brunson in the switch against Jay Crowder. Like, find the matchups for him. I'm just saying, that's not the one. I don't think Bossman 99 agrees.
I feel like it's weird. Like, the size has bothered Jalen Brunson a bit.
Absolutely.
But I'm also like, he's not as good as Luka. You can do some of the things that you did for Luka, like particularly in game 1. Like, Luka would call for a screen, get Chris Paul into the action, and then go with the pick and roll with Dwight Powell to get Ayton in it, because Phoenix doesn't want to switch Chris Paul on your big typically. Like, you can do that for Jalen Brunson. Devin Booker's got net matchup in the first 2 games. Like, screen off to get Chris Paul in the action, then go with your big. Like, that should give Jalen Brunson something to attack versus, all right, let's go 1-4 pick and roll. You get the switch with Jay Crowder. Now what are you doing? It's just more.
In theory, Nekias, I think that sounds great, but I think Jalen is such a sort of a feel guy, right? Like either he's wingman to Luka and like operating in that space, or he's like Luka is out. Just in terms of watching him over the course of the season and even the last series, right? Like Phoenix clearly has the tools to one make him struggle, and for Jalen, I don't think it's just about scoring. I think it's about getting in rhythm and being able to set up other guys that unlocks his scoring. Like when you think about when he dropped 40, I think he might only have 5 or 6 assists that day, but just the way that he's able to hunt the paint and move the ball around. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you could call for some ISO action for him, but like also cool, really maybe not where he finds his rhythm in the way that we saw him be a real threat in the previous series.
And speaking of the previous series, and to your point, Nekias, this is a different defensive team.
100%.
Like Phoenix's defense this series has been very impressive as far as flying around, showing doubles, helping, rotating. Like they're not giving the same gaps. And Dallas has to work. Like
transition. Yeah,
it's not there. And remembering it's Utah, they were pretty much just like, hey, we're going to bring the ball at the court and just drive by someone and see what happens.
And kick it to Maxi Kleber to hit a 3 in the corner.
Hit all of them. For 3. If I'm a Utah fan, I'm sick. I'm looking at this man in this series like, hey man, nah. But it's not the same. And so I want to give Phoenix's defense a salute because not only they have 100%. Those wings, but they have that team mindset where, hey, we're switching, we're flying around, we're doubling. You don't have those same gaps, and it's tough for Dallas to grind that way.
Mm-hmm. The going into. I haven't checked since going into the Utah series, but like statistically, they average more assists without Luka. And so for a team that's flying around and has length, you're not gonna pass the ball? Perfect. Bet. We're just going to literally stand here with our hands extended and close these gaps. Oh, and we can move our feet. Good luck.
It's just been kind of tough. I guess if you're gonna go with, obviously you go with a Luka-centric offense because Luka's very good. With the way that Phoenix has been showing help, if you do get the late switch. What that's kind of opened up is some of the swing situations in the corner and stuff like that. Is there a way to move Jalen Brunson around the chessboard a little bit so he can get some of those catch and shoot opportunities or some of those catch and drive opportunities? Since you're getting, that's kind of been the one way Dallas has been able to get Phoenix in rotation even a little bit. It's because they're showing that extra help to Luka.
In theory, yes, but the problem is they're so good at helping that even when he beats that first closeout, someone else is there. And their lineup balance is kind of off, where their best spacing lineup features both Maxi Kleber and Davis Bertans, a.k.a. Dave Bertans. Man, Dave Burt, all right?
Just call him DB. Did you call this man Dave Burt? Wow, that's something.
This is going to spread. I can't believe. Shout out to the Dunker Spot community. This is... So this is a deep cut from our dunkers.
Oh man, wow! I do love Jason Kidd as a coach. He's impressive, and so yes, to your point, I agree with Steve. In theory, all of that, but I think also you can't necessarily game for it to be Jalen. It's got to be whoever finds. You know what I'm saying? Like Dorian Finney-Smith has to knock out threes. If Kleber's on the floor, he's got knocked out threes. I think it's really hard to game plan for Jalen to be the guy on the swing again, and part of that goes back to his size.
That's fair. I guess with that, so is there an answer for Dallas? Is it just going to boil down to we just have to have good shooting nights? Or is there something they can scheme up to generate more paint touches aside from Luka?
I mean, they showed the template. It works if they can make it close in the fourth, but they have to hit so many threes. Their defense has to show up. They just don't have a lot of margin for error. So if you have Luka going and you have that pressure point with Luka having maybe the space to operate and score and drop in a tight game, that probably changes the math a little bit. Those rotations maybe seem a little bit different. The problem is Dallas can't get it to be tight. Either one of the things fall apart. They stop making threes or their defense goes away. And they need all three things going. And that's just a very slim margin against a very good team in the playoffs. So they know what they got to do. They just got to do it. To me, at this point in the series.
All right, I'm with you. Oh, Monica, you about to say something?
Yeah. I mean, here's great analysis. They just have to play better. Excellent basketball analysis is they have to play better. I'm like really thinking schematically. To me, in the playoffs, teams don't become something that they're not, right? And we talked about the previous series matchups. Like the reality of, sorry, Jazz fans, like is they probably rely entirely too much on Rudy Gobert, who doesn't come outside the paint. Dallas exploited them, boom, like formula we've seen before. In this case, Dallas relies so much on Luka and Phoenix's continuity and length on the defensive end. Like, oh, you want to be a primarily ISO team? Like, I should look this up. I'm curious to see where they rank in terms of the ISO conversation, in terms of teams that run ISO the most over the course of the season. Like, that's what y'all do? Perfect. That's what we want to defend. Like, I just think it's a bad matchup. And schematically, they're not going to, like, Luka all of a sudden is not about to be running off a gazillion screens. Like, that's just not, you maybe 4 times out of a season, like 1 time a quarter. But like to me, the fix to beat a team like Phoenix is a lot more movement, and that's just not who they are.
I think we're all in agreement then. I think coming in, at least when Steve and I talked about this in the series preview, like this didn't seem like a great matchup for Dallas. Like as switchy as Phoenix is, as well as they rotate. I mean, they're just freaking good. Only team in the NBA that
they're really good.
In the top 5 in offensive and defensive rating. Like they just do this, and it would have taken Herculean Luka and also the other stepping up. And if you're not getting much from Jalen Brunson because of the length, if you're not getting anything from Spencer Dinwiddie, then it's like, where's the creation coming from? And you're basically asking your guys to bomb away from 3, and they've tried, and they've gotten that in spurts. Like even Maxi Kleber is shooting well from 3 in this series, but it just isn't enough. So even with Kleber knocking down threes, Phoenix is pretty comfortable rotating off of him. Like he's not a feared guy. He's very much a tip your cap if you can beat this guy. And if that's not enough for you, Phoenix just has too many answers on the other end as well. Like Dallas, I don't even feel like Dallas has been an awful defensive team. Like Phoenix has been able to find a weak link. They've been able to stress Luka out. To Steve's point, like they've put him in a bunch of actions and then also hunted him.
Yeah.
And
Phoenix has just been really good. And I mean, I actually thought, and I'm not gonna say the series, I don't think it's gonna be a sweep. I thought the way that Dallas was playing coming in, I did think that these games would be tighter earlier. Right? I still expect Phoenix to get out, but I thought they were playing with a lot of confidence and a lot of mojo. But we saw 2 different Dallas teams versus the Jazz. And again, not taking anything away from Luka, but like the team that moves the ball, to me, that if you got a strong defensive unit, your best bet is to get them on skates and find the hole that way. And so that is the team that's the version of Dallas minus Luka, candidly.
We're seeing a carryover. Sorry, we're seeing a carryover from the end of that Utah series where they're trying to figure out how to get everyone going, and also Phoenix just really good offensively.
Phoenix is excellent.
They ain't been able to find really a way to lock in there. I wonder if they just go zone in Game 3.
I mean, that's kind of where it went into Game 2. It's like, all right, well, you can't hunt Luka if he's just at the bottom of the zone. Do something now, which I'm not sure if you want to give.
Man, you could screen them though. You still could screen them. No, don't worry about it. The backline screens on the zone. We can get you now.
If there's a team that'll be able to figure it out, that would be Phoenix.
Man, what? I ain't never seen no pin down on the back line of the screen and Devin Booker came off in cash. Like, whoops. You gonna see it today.
Oh, Phoenix is a freaking buzzsaw, man.